There is a place in the sky where God forgot to put the stars. A cold, dead sphere 330 million light-years wide. It is not just empty space. It is a cosmic crime scene. Something is hiding in the dark, and it is getting bigger. Imagine you are walking through a dense forest. Trees everywhere, blocking your view, thick and green. Suddenly, you step into a clearing. But it is not just a small patch of grass. It is a perfect circle of absolute nothingness stretching for miles. No trees. No bushes. No birds. No sound. Just dead, flat silence. You would not think, oh, nature is amazing. You would think something terrible happened here. Welcome to the Boötes Void. Or as I like to call it, the Great Nothing. Located in the constellation of the Herdsman, looking like a dark patch right near the Big Dipper, lies the single most terrifying anomaly in modern astronomy. We are talking about a sphere of emptiness with a diameter of nearly 330 million light-years. Let me put that number into perspective for you, because the human brain is really bad at understanding big numbers. The Milky Way, our entire galaxy, with all its billions of stars, planets, and black holes, is about 100,000 light-years across. You could fit 3,000 Milky Ways lined up side by side inside this void. If the universe was a crowded Manhattan skyscraper, the Boötes Void is an entire floor that has been gutted, sealed off, and painted vanablack. When astronomer Robert Kirshner and his team discovered this monstrosity in 1981, they didn't believe the data. It didn't make sense. You see, the universe is supposed to be like a well-stirred soup. Sure, you have clumps of noodles here and chunks of meat there, galaxies and clusters, but generally, the stuff is spread out pretty evenly. According to standard cosmological math, a region of space this size should contain roughly 10,000 galaxies. 10,000. Massive, swirling cities of light. Do you know how many we found in the Boötes Void? 60. Not 6,000. 60. That is not a margin of error. That is a massacre. That is like walking into New York City at rush hour and seeing only 6 people in the entire borough of Manhattan. So, the scientists started sweating. They tried to explain it with gravity. They said, well, maybe over time, bigger galaxy clusters pulled everything away, like magnets clearing a table. It is a nice theory. It is comforting. It suggests that this is just a natural process, like a receding tide. But there is a problem. Time. The universe is roughly 14 billion years old. That sounds like a long time, but on a cosmic scale, it is a lunch break. To clear a space of this magnitude, to push galaxies that are millions of light years apart all the way to the edges of a bubble this big, would take longer than the current age of the universe. Physics says this void shouldn't exist yet. It is too big, too empty, and too perfect. There is a famous quote by astronomer Greg Aldering that gives me chills every time I read it. He said, if the Milky Way had been in the center of the Boötes Void, we wouldn't have known there were other galaxies until the 1960s. Think about that. If we lived there, we would think we were truly, utterly alone. We would look up and see nothing but black. No Andromeda, no distant nebulas. Just us, drifting in a sea of eternal night. We wouldn't have developed astronomy. We wouldn't have wondered about our place in the cosmos because there would be no cosmos to look at. But we don't live there. We are on the outside looking in. And what we are seeing doesn't look like a natural formation. It looks artificial. It looks spherical. And most disturbingly, it looks like it is growing. Nature abhors a vacuum, but the Boötes Void pisses in nature's face. So, if gravity didn't clear this room, what did? If the laws of physics can't explain why the lights went out in this sector of space, maybe we should stop looking at physics and start looking at biology. Or rather, technology. Because there is a theory that suggests those 10,000 missing galaxies aren't gone. They are still there. We just can't see them anymore. Someone, or something, pulled the curtains. We are about to dive into the darkest theory on the Kardashev scale. If nature didn't clear the table, then someone else did. To understand what might be happening inside the Boötes Void, we have to look at the Kardashev scale. This is a method scientists use to measure a civilization's technological advancement based on how much energy it can consume. We, humans, are barely on the scale. We are type 0.7. We burn dead plants and split atoms, scraping energy from the surface of our planet. We are like children playing with matches. A type 1 civilization can harness all the energy falling on their planet from their sun. They control the weather. They control volcanoes. They own their world completely. But a type 2 civilization? They have outgrown their planet. Their energy needs are so massive that a simple solar panel won't cut it. They need the star itself. So, they build a Dyson Sphere. This is a megastructure, a massive shell of solar collectors that completely surrounds a star, capturing 100% of its energy output. When you finish a Dyson Sphere, two things happen. First, you get near infinite energy to run your supercomputers and reality simulators. Second, and this is the key, the star disappears from the outside view. You have put a lampshade over the light bulb. To an observer a million light years away, that star just winked out of existence. Now, take it one step further. A Type 3 civilization. The Galactic Masters. They don't just want one star. They want them all. Imagine a civilization that originated in the center of what is now the Boötes Void billions of years ago. They built their first Dyson Sphere. Then, using that energy, they launched fleets of von Neumann probes, self-replicating robots, to the neighboring star systems. They arrive, they build more spheres, they harvest more energy, and they replicate again. It is an exponential expansion. It spreads outward from a central point, like a balloon inflating or a virus consuming a cell. And what creates a perfect sphere of darkness in a universe filled with light? An expanding empire that is turning off the stars one by one. This theory suggests that the Boötes Void is an empty space. It is actually the most densely populated region in the universe. It is full of trillions of beings living in digital utopias, powered by the captured hearts of 10,000 stars. We can't see them because they don't want to waste a single photon of energy by letting it escape into the void. They are efficient. They are quiet. And they are hungry. Now, pause for a second. If the idea of a galactic empire silently harvesting the universe makes you question your safety, you are not alone. We explore these nightmares every week. So, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop a comment below. Tell me, if you were a Type 3 civilization, would you reveal yourself to us, or would you just pave over us like we pave over an anthill? Join the discussion, because it might be the only place where your opinion still matters. Back to the horror. The scariest part about the Dyson Sphere theory is the geometry. Why is the Boötes Void a sphere? Nature creates rough shapes, filaments, walls, blobs. But a sphere implies a center point of origin and a uniform speed of expansion. It implies intent. If this theory is true, We are looking at a wave of colonization that is 330 million light-years wide. But wait, it gets worse. We have to talk about the speed of light. When you look at the moon, you see it as it was 1 second ago. When you look at the sun, you see it as it was 8 minutes ago. But when we look at the Boötes Void, we are looking at light that has been traveling for hundreds of millions of years. We are watching a history channel, not a live feed. The image we see of the void is outdated. It shows us where the civilization was 700 million years ago. In the time it took for that image to reach our telescopes, that expansion sphere has not stopped. It has kept growing. If they are expanding at even a fraction of the speed of light, the actual edge of their territory is much, much closer than we think. Maybe the reason we haven't found aliens yet, the reason for the Fermi paradox, is that we are the last house on the block that hasn't been renovated yet. We are sitting here, broadcasting our radio signals, screaming hello, is anyone there, into the dark. And in the Boötes Void, something might be listening. But they aren't coming to say hello. They are coming to install the solar panels. We assume that a Type 3 civilization would be loud, radio waves, laser communications, noisy engines. But a truly advanced species might be perfectly stealthy. Heat is waste. Light is waste. If they are efficient, they would appear to be nothing more than cold, black space. They could be right on the edge of the Milky Way, and we would just think it is a patch of dust blocking the view. However, there is another possibility. One that doesn't involve aliens, ships, or stars at all. One that suggests the Boötes Void isn't a place where things are hiding, but a place where reality itself forgot to load. What if the universe is crashing? We are moving from biology to glitch theory. Because sometimes, when you look into the abyss looks like a corrupted save file. Let's take the tinfoil hat off for a second and put on a VR headset instead. If the Boötes Void isn't an alien farm, there is a third option. One that appeals to the gamers in the audience. Look at modern video games. They use a technique called procedural generation or draw distance. To save memory, the computer only renders what the player is looking at. If you go out of bounds, or if the game glitches, you fall into the void. You see incomplete textures. You see nothingness. What if the universe works the same way? The simulation theory suggests that we are living in a code, a grand experiment run by a higher intelligence. Every computer has limits. Even a computer the size of a galaxy has a maximum amount of RAM. Maybe the Boötes Void is simply a region where the code failed to execute. A chunk that didn't load. The physics in there might be different. The constants of nature, gravity, light speed, the strong nuclear force, might be bugged. That would explain why galaxies refuse to form there. The rules for star formation simply weren't copied into that folder. It is a corrupted sector on the universal hard drive. And the scary part? It connects to other voids. There is another anomaly called the Eridanus supervoid, often linked to the CMB cold spot, a massive region that is inexplicably colder than the rest of the universe. Some cosmologists, like Laura Mersini-Houghton, have proposed a theory that makes the simulation hypothesis look like a bedtime story. She suggests that these voids aren't errors. They are scars. Imagine the universe is not infinite. Imagine it is a bubble. A soap bubble floating in a much larger, infinite foam called the multiverse. Sometimes, in this foam, bubbles bump into each other. When two universes collide, the impact is cataclysmic. It releases energy, it warps gravity, and it pushes matter away from the impact point. The Boötes Void might be the bruise left over from when another universe slammed into ours billions of years ago. We are looking at a cosmic car crash. If this is true, it means our reality is fragile. We are floating in a chaotic sea of universes, and at any moment, another bubble could hit us. Next time, the bruise might not be in an empty corner of space. It might be right here, where we live. We look at the Boötes Void and we see emptiness. But maybe, if we had the right eyes, we would see the wall of our cage. We would see the edge of the petri dish. So, where does that leave us? We are either the prey of a Type 3 civilization that is slowly turning off the lights, or we are characters in a simulation that is running out of memory, or we are just a fragile bubble that survived a cosmic collision. None of these options are comforting, but they are fascinating. The Boötes Void is a reminder that the universe does not care about our comfort. It is vast, it is violent, and it is full of secrets that we are barely beginning to understand. We are standing on a tiny rock, shouting into a hurricane, demanding answers. And the only answer the void gives us is silence. Maybe that silence is a mercy. Maybe we shouldn't try to look too closely at what's hiding in the dark. Because if you stare into the abyss long enough, eventually, the abyss might just open its eyes. And if it does, I hope you are ready to run.